This is Wife Material Podcast, episode 14. How to get a high value man. I want to start off first with this premise of the idea that women have to understand that you will be old, and if you're over 40, you're definitely, close to 50 and 60, retirement ages. So you don't have much time left before you get to the point where you're going to be alone, right? And if you don't have somebody, well, then that means you have to rely on someone else to take care of you when you can't take care of yourself. You do know once you get old, you can't take care of yourself. You're not strong. You're not independent when you're old. You're actually going to be weaker, and you're going to very much be dependent on others to do things. No one knows, how old people are, how old ladies and old men are, like how physically weaker they are. So once you get to that point, then what? Who's going to take care of you? You're probably going to expect young people to take care of you. The same people who are not going to respect you, not going to like you. And unfortunately, but this is a fact, they're waiting for you to die. They're like, oh, I can't wait for this old lady or old man to die. You know what I mean? And the way things are nowadays, it's more old ladies that's going to be in that scenario than old men. Because at least old men are going to go get themselves a young woman because he's more likely going to have the financial capabilities of like, yeah, spend some time with me, young lady, and, 20 and up, young lady, and when I kick the bucket, hey, here, nice little paycheck for you for, spending time with me until the very end. Guys will typically do that, and that's how it used to be back in the day. We used to have the thing of, the term gold diggers, but usually was that women who, younger women who dated older men, really, really old men, knowing that at some point they're going to kick the bucket. And when they do, there's a nice little paycheck that comes with it, right? But women are not typically in that category. Women typically are not the paycheck in a relationship. It's the men that's usually the paycheck, right? Women usually are the ones that receives the money, not the ones who gives the money, right? So men are used to being providers. They're known for giving money, paying for stuff, and more so than earning stuff. Like, for example, what I'm trying to get at is men can pay for love at the end of their life. Women cannot. Women have to earn love at the end of their life. And that's the problem when you spend your youth not loving other people, not letting people get to love you because you're an asshole. And that's a fact. You were an asshole when you're young. Now when you're old, you want people to be nice to you, but you didn't earn it. You didn't earn respect. You didn't earn love. You didn't earn kindness because you weren't kind. And I've met old women in my life that were, attractive women when they were young, but they were assholes. And then now they're old and bitter. Like, literally, that's a pattern. I've seen it multiple times. And I've seen the opposite. I've seen scenarios where women were these, good, nice women. Even if they weren't that attractive, it didn't matter. They had good personalities when they were younger. They were nicer to people. And in their old age, people were, are nice to them. Look out for them, treat them better. And that's the thing. You have to take into account that in the future, when you can't really be independent, right? Can't be strong, like literally, physically, and even emotionally or mentally, because you're getting old. Who are you going to have there to take care of? How many people are you going to have there to take care of, right? To look after you, to care for you. If you're a shitty person when you were young, don't be surprised you're alone when you're older. That's just how it goes. It's a pattern. It's not like, the point is that history has shown anyone who pays attention to how, since they were a little kid up to the fact that they're an adult now. I noticed this when I was a kid, when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I noticed this stuff. I noticed some old ladies who lived alone, and they were cat ladies. They had lots of cats. That's why we call them cat ladies. They had cats. They had no man, and they were always bitter, always wanting somebody to pay attention to them. Sometimes they act all groggy and complain about stuff. You complain about young people, specifically young women, and it's like, this doesn't seem right. Something clearly was wrong in her life. Her to be all bitter at this point. But you see a lot of other women were, grandmas, and grandma's awesome, and everybody loves grandma. Yay, grandma this, grandma that. Yeah, everybody loves grandma. No one loves that old cat lady. And then the unfortunateness is once you hear that the old cat lady died, it's like, damn, that was so sad. Every time I saw her, she was grumpy. She was unhappy. I try to be nicer. This is from a personal experience, by the way. I try to be nicer, but the person wasn't beautiful, wasn't a grandma personality, wasn't lovable. But I try to be nicer because I understand she's old and she's gonna die someday. And then I found out she did. That's unfortunate. It's like, damn, sad to hear that. Because she's a human being. Again, the choices she made in her life is the choices she made. Wish her the best in the afterlife. But that's the thing. It's like we have a life to live, so live it to be the best. Now, a little off topic, but definitely need to put that out there because this helps with the whole how to get high value men, or just how to get a man in general, whether he's high value or not. It's better to have somebody than nobody. Because the thing about having a man in general, whether he high value or not, is the fact that at least there's someone there that they'll care for you when you're old. They'll respect you when you're old. They'll love you when you're old. When the whole world doesn't care about you, when the whole world ignores you, when the whole world, is living their best life and ignoring you, at least you have him. At least you have someone. That's the most important thing. Don't be a cat lady. I'm doing you a favor by telling you this. Don't be a cat lady. Do better. Be happy. You don't want to be a cat lady and have some young little kid looking at you like, damn, that's sad. Because you probably think you had a great life. And you probably did. For you. But was it truly great in the grand scheme of things? Was it truly great in society? Because if your life was so great, society would treat you that way. Would treat you like your life was great. Treat you with love and admiration to the very end, until you die. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's a huge difference. But oh well, to each their own. But let's focus on getting you that man you want. All right, so you want a high value man. All right, as Kevin Samuel himself says it, 3 basic things. There's more than that, but there's 3 basic things. Fit, friendly, and feminine. The 3 F's, as it were, very important. Being fit. You don't have to be a size 6 per se. You can. There are different guys who prefer different things. It's just that size 6 is a standard, right? Let's have a standard, a way to measure, a way to determine things. We gotta pick a certain point to start with, right? A starting point. Size 6, starting point. You know what I mean? I'm not against a size 8, 12, 16. You know what I mean? It just depends, right? It depends on the height and weight and all that stuff, and how you carry yourself, and so on and so forth. And again, it does depend on a man's preference or acceptance or willingness or compromise, because men compromise a lot. If a man can choose between a size 6 or size 12 or 24, he'll choose a size 6. That's just common sense. And we're talking about the average. Like, more often than not, mathematically, a size 6 will be picked. Are there guys out there they'll pick a size 24? Yeah. Would I be okay with a woman who's a dress size 24? Yeah. I'll be okay with it. But again, it does depend. I'd rather have a woman who's like a size 7 or 8, for example, and if she turns into a size 12, well, that makes sense if she had a lot of babies and she couldn't slim back down. Then it's like, all right, not a problem. Especially if it's a long-term relationship, then I can compromise, because that's just what that is. That's a compromise. I can compromise on it. I can accept it. It's like, okay, since you gave me children, I can accept your different body shape. I can accept it. It was a trade-off. I wanted kids. I have to accept the fact that your body's not the same way it was when we first met. Right? Fair. That's fair. I consider that fair. But when we first meet, you shouldn't already be a size 12, 24, and 32 or something like that, right? You shouldn't be. You have time to do better. You should be trying to get my attention in the first place if you want me. If you don't want me, that's fine. Then there you go, right? To each their own. But if you want me, or you want another man who's, you want a high value man, then you need to make sure that you catch his attention, because you got to understand about high value. It's not just the thing about, okay, let me describe a high value man a little bit. It's the idea that like he has a lot of money. Yes, that's one aspect. But the other thing is his contribution to the world, right? He does stuff that takes time and effort, because he's doing things like, let's say he's running a business, or let's say he's running for mayor or something, like, or let's say he's a lawyer or something, or something of that nature. Like he is in a position in his life where his time is important. His time is needed to do certain things, and he's the best one at what he does. Just like being a CEO of a company obviously requires a lot of his time and effort to run the company, make sure that the company functions, things like that, right? So just like being a really good surgeon, stuff like that. Whenever somebody needs a surgery, he's the best. Well, no surprise, he has to go and do his thing because he's the best, right? And that right there makes him high value, because he's very valuable because of what he can do. Not just what he has, but what he can do. That's what makes him high value, right? So let's, simplify it. Let's go with he has money, right? Let's just focus on the money part. So if he has money, right, that means he can afford anything. You think somebody with big pockets, as they say, will settle for getting stuff from the dollar store, as it were? Or would he rather get the best he can afford? If he can afford $2,000, ice cream, then he can afford $2,000 ice cream. Is it necessary to pay $2,000 for an ice cream? No, not necessary. But if it's high quality ice cream and it costs $2,000 for the ice cream, then it will make sense he'll want to, buy the $2,000 ice cream, for example. So you gotta understand that because he's high value, or he highly values things, then that means everything in his life is of value, and he has to value it as much as everyone else values it. So from his point of view, when it comes to him picking you, is that he has to value you above anyone else, right? As in, when he's choosing among all the different women he could choose from, you got to be more valuable. Some women will consider their, ability to like cook and clean as making them valuable. It's like, okay, that's good to have that. You should have that. You should have that for yourself more than anything, but that's good that you have that, but somebody else has that. Or they'll be like, oh, I have a great personality. It's like, it's true. You could have a great personality, and it's a personality that he'll like. But there's tons of other women that have the same, similar, or even better personality than you. So it's like, okay, you got to understand that you got to think of yourself as a resume. Think of a resume when you think of yourself. Think of a resume. The more you have on your resume, the better you look to your boss, right? Or to a person who's going to hire you for a position. And when you're trying to be with a high value man, that's what you're doing. You're trying to be his woman, right? You're trying to be with him. Therefore, you got to be your resume has to be better than any other woman's resume. Your resume can't be the same or less, because then because if it's the same, if your resume is the same as another woman, then he has to try to figure out which one to pick, not based off of your resume. He has to find some other reason to to choose. So then that's where the dress size 6 comes in. It's like you and her, the other woman could be equal in so many ways, but you're size 7, she's a size 6, so she wins because he rather have the 6. Okay. If he chooses 7 over 6, hey, that's fine. No sense he can't choose 7 if he wants. But again, it boils down to him choosing, right? And the thing is that if you're the one who wants the high value man, you should make it where he definitely chooses you. You need to do what you can to make sure he chooses you, right? Because when you want a job, you don't want it to be fair, right? You don't want it to be a scenario where somebody else could get the job instead of you. No, you want the job. You want the job. You have plans for what you're going to do with the money. You have plans on how to travel to work and stuff like that. Especially if the job is close to where you live, definitely want that job. You don't want to be passed off for that job. You don't want somebody else to get the job instead of you. So if you're willing to compete and try to make yourself more attractive to a company, to a job, to pick you, why wouldn't you do that for a man? Why wouldn't you do what you should do to be picked? Even if you don't like the idea of being, in shape, like you don't like the idea of exercising, this, that, and the third. It's like, it's like, okay, but if you want a man that does care about fitness, does care about that, if you want to be with him, then you got to do what you got to do, right? Just like if you don't like typing, let's say you don't like typing on a computer, but you're trying to get a job somewhere because you want the paycheck. If you want the paycheck, you got to learn typing, right? You got to do what they want. If they're willing to pay you good money to type, you're going to learn to type, right? Regardless if you like it or not, you're going to do it because the end result is you get that nice paycheck, right? So if you want a high value man, which is a really nice paycheck, if you want to call it that, if you want to look at it like that, then you need to earn it. So you need to do things that you don't even like to do. Let's say you're the type of person who don't like to wash dishes, for example. Just for example. Obviously, dishwashers exist, but let's say you don't like doing dishes. All right, that's fine. You don't like it. But if you want this nice paycheck, aka this high value man, you better start doing dishes, for example, if that's what he wants. Because in order for you to get what you want, you got to give somebody what they want. It's about equal exchange, right? It's about fairness in that regards. Fairness is not 100% equal. Equal means pretty much the same. I don't like the idea of using the term equal. I prefer fairness. If I do you a favor, I expect you to do me a favor. But the favors don't have to be the same. They don't have to equal the same. Like I've given people money before for like something. They needed like $30 for something, for example. All right, so I gave them money and they were able to do something with it. But then later on, when I needed a favor, the favor, if you give it a monetary value, it probably was worth like $80 in value. So even though the person got $30 in that one scenario for a favor, I was able to turn that favor that they owe me to an $80 value favor. See, the monetary value is not the same, but a favor is a favor. I helped them when they needed it. They helped me when I needed it. It doesn't have to be the same. It's fair because I did do something for them, so I do expect something in return, but it wasn't equal. That's the difference between fair and equal. Most women want everything to be equal. And it's like, no. You want what you need is everything to be fair. So if you gotta, cook and clean and stuff like that or whatever, or be fit, you better be nice, respectful, right? Pay for things, right? Treat you good, right? You expect that, right? That makes it fair. If you're doing things he wants, the fair thing is for him to do the things you want, right? That's fair. Doesn't have to be equal. Just has to be fair, right? So that's why when you want a high value man, you gotta make sure you're trying to get him fairly, as in you're offering him something of value. You're offering him what he wants and then some. You're more appealing to somebody, especially a high value man, if you bring more to the table than any other woman brings to the table, so bring more. Bring a nice personality. Let's say hypothetically, it's better to be a nice person just to be a nice person. But hypothetically, let's say on average you're an asshole. You tend to be an asshole to people. Well, for this high value man, right? For as long as you're with him, he should never be able to see that side of you, that disrespectful side of you. He should only see the good side of you, right? Now this might sound funny, weird, right? The idea of like, pretend to be nice, but what I'm saying is not necessarily pretend, but choose that, choose to be nice. At least in that situation. It's the same thing as, when you go to church, you don't curse at church, right? You choose to not curse at church. But once you leave church, you're going to be cursing up a storm, right? As an example. Obviously, cursing shouldn't be something you do, but hey, people do what they do, right? I'm just saying is like, when you're in a certain situation, you should fit that situation. If you're trying to be with a high value man, you need to fit in many ways, not just be fit, physically, but fit mentally, emotionally, physically, right? Fit. A man, high value or not, wants a woman, so you need to be feminine as you possibly can, right? And the more, the better. So you need to be more feminine, more of a woman than most other women out there are. That way you be more likely to get picked, right? Not only do you need to do better for your, for getting a high value man, you need to make sure you do better for yourself. Because if you want a man, right, more so than need a man, but if you want a man, you want a good man in this and there, make sure you know how to vet a good man. You know how to, determine what makes a good man a good man. Find that information, figure it out. Learn how to pick better. Hopefully my, my podcast, my episodes helped you in that regards, help you understand men better, so that way you can pick better. But you also have to represent that better. If you want a high quality man, a man of, a great guy, not just a guy who has a lot of money, influence in the world, just a great guy, then you need to make sure you're a great woman for that great guy. If you want a great guy, you got to be a great woman. You got to actually be what he considers great, not what you consider great, what he considers great. So being a size, if being a size 6 is what he considers to be great, then that's just how that works. You need to make sure that you are up to that standard, that you are that great woman. And ironically, it doesn't take that much effort to be great. The first things you need to do is try to talk, walk, act, look like a woman as much as possible. Be friendly. Being friendly is just something that every human being, a guy should be nice and a woman should be nice. You should be a good person regardless. And that's another thing. Being good. If you're a good person, you consider yourself to be a good woman, then you're a good woman no matter what the world says, no matter how the world treats you. If the world is constantly treating you like shit, you still should be a good woman within that situation. Don't let the world change you. Don't let the world influence you. I see this a lot, that women try to justify their bad behavior because the world treated them a certain type of ways. Like, the world treats me like shit too, lady. You're not the only one that gets treated like shit in this world. There's a lot of selfish people in this world, and that's where the being treated like shit comes from. People being selfish, people caring about themselves more than anyone else. So, of course, you're going to get treated like shit. I've been treated like shit numerous times. It's not like I deserve it, but it happens. But this is the thing that shouldn't happen, and should never happen, is that I shouldn't turn out then be an asshole myself. If everybody else is jumping off the bridge, I'm not going to jump off the bridge. I'm going to look at all these idiots jumping off the bridge and be like, well, they're idiots. Well, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be, smart, right? I'm going to have a mind of my own, because clearly all these idiots, somebody convinced them to jump off the bridge, and all these idiots kept telling each other to jump off the bridge, and they kept doing it. And it's like, okay, idiots, you know, stupidity was spreading within that category. And I don't consider myself stupid at all. Therefore, I'm not going to do what they're doing. I'm going to do what I already decided is the right thing to do, which is to be a good person. So if I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be a good person all the time, no matter what. Am I perfect? No, of course not. Can I be an asshole from time to time? Yes. But the thing is, you know, with being a good person is that at some point I'll realize that I did something wrong, or I was being an asshole to someone, and I'll apologize when I catch it. Or if somebody calls me out on it, I'll apologize. You know, I can own up to my, you know, human flaw, right, of being an asshole from time to time. But on average, I'm a nice person. On average, you know, I don't say much. I keep quiet unless, you know, I see there's a problem and I have a solution for it. I don't talk unless it's to share information or facts. I don't talk to give my opinion. I only talk to explain things, to give facts, to give knowledge, to share what I know about something when I have something to say. But in that, I don't say anything. You know what I mean? Like, it annoys me when people try to act like anything I say is an opinion. They'll try to use the term opinion, right, to say that I'm wrong. Like, oh, it's just your opinion, so it doesn't matter. But then when they say something, oh, it's my opinion, you know, you should respect my opinion. Like, oh, okay, so when you have an opinion, I'm supposed to respect it like it's important. But when I, quote unquote, have an opinion, you can disrespect it. You can be like, oh, it don't mean nothing. It's an opinion, therefore it's not important. It's like, oh, okay, it's only important when you have an opinion, but it's not important when I have an opinion. See how that doesn't make sense? An opinion should be the same no matter who says it. If an opinion matters, then everybody's opinion matters. If opinion doesn't matter, then nobody's opinion matters. That's how that works. It's not selective. You don't choose whose opinion matters. It just doesn't matter. And I'm on the position of opinions don't matter, which is why I don't waste time even having opinions. Opinions are useless. Opinions are just random thoughts people have. I don't like having random thoughts. I prefer to make sure that whatever I think is fact-based, logic. I care about the truth. If 2 + 2 = 4, that's what I care about. I don't care about somebody's opinion that 2 + 2 should equal 12 or something. I don't care. That's your opinion. You're allowed to have it, but you're not allowed to share it. But I don't want to get on to the opinion rant. Let's get back to the other things other than fit, friendly, and feminine. Like I already said, is that when it comes to being feminine, you got to be able to talk like a woman, not talk like a man, not act like a man. You got to act like a woman, walk like a woman, not walk like a man, look like a woman, you know, don't look like a man, don't look like trash, right? Look your best. Now, I'm not talking about like makeup or anything like that. I'm talking about like look your best. You know, try your best to make sure that what you wear, you know, represents how you want to be treated. So if you want to be treated with respect, dress respectfully. Dress like someone who gets respect, right? Don't dress like somebody who isn't respected. You know, in other words, don't dress like a hooker if you want to be treated like a princess. See what I'm saying? Like, don't dress like something that isn't typically respected. And definitely do not try to encourage the stupid idea that how you dress doesn't matter. No, it does matter. Because when a man dresses like a bum, ladies, you treat him like a bum. A man dresses like he got money, you treat him like he got money, even if he is actually broke. And everything he's wearing is his wealth. He spent all his hard-earned money on what he's wearing. Now you think he got lots of money in the bank, but he actually doesn't because he wasted it on what he's wearing. I mean, be logical, ladies. At least try to be. So, you know, just some common sense is what I'm saying. So, you know, look, but it matters. I mean, if you appreciate a guy who looks like he has a lot of money, then that's good. At least you're, you know, he looks like he has money, so you're respecting him as such. But at the same time, you know, don't be blinded by it and assume that he, you know, is rich when he just looks rich. Make sure you can confirm it, right? Just because a guy looks like he's single doesn't mean he actually is. You better make sure he is. And the list goes on. Don't assume, ladies. Get facts, get the truth. That's why opinions are so bad. That's why it matters. It matters the facts. So it's like, yes, if you're wearing a hooker outfit, but you're a nice lady, all right, it's good that you're a nice lady, but you're dressed like a hooker, so don't be surprised that people don't think you're a nice lady, you know, because you're not presenting right off the bat that you are. You know, dress the way you want to be addressed, as they say. That's the expression. Dress the way you want to be addressed. You know, I dress bummy on purpose just so I get ignored. I don't dress bummy for attention, that's for sure. I dress bummy. I try to wear what everybody else is wearing around me so I can blend in because I'm trying not to stand out. When I want to stand out, that's when I dress differently. That's when I wear a suit and tie, you know, look nice. So when I'm walking around, I get certain looks and attention and certain reactions because I look different than what everybody else is doing. That's the thing. When you want to stand out, you stand out. When you don't want to stand out, then that's when you blend in, right? Camouflage. Clothing works that way. Clothing creates the illusion of success or failure. So stop dressing them like you failed at life, ladies. Dress like you're successful. Dress like you're doing good in life. You know, especially let's say you're not doing good in life. Let's say you're lonely. Life sucks, and you wish it was better. I will dress better, look better. That way, when somebody sees you, be like, "Oh man, looks like she has her life together. She looks like she's had a great life." When in reality, you didn't. But here's the thing, though, right? The irony is that they'll probably approach you. They'll probably try to at least get to know you, this, that, and third. One thing leads to another, and then you get the social networking aspect out of it because you're interacting with another human being, and for all you know, that human being can help you get out of that shitty life. Gotta love that, right? I love it when a man can upgrade you, right? When a man can get you out of the hood or get you out of poverty and into a better life, right? Because he already is in a better life. So if you tried your best to look like you are living a better life than you really are, there's a higher chance of someone noticing you and then treating you as if you're part of their life, their world, the way they live. And then they'll definitely invite you to be part of what they're doing. And then by default, it's like, oh shit, now I am on their level, right? Always like the Beyonce song, let me upgrade you, the upgrade you song that Beyonce does. Great concept, right? Men have been upgrading women for years, for thousands of years. If a woman wants to upgrade me, hey, do it. Go ahead, upgrade me if you want. But, I'm already doing good upgrading myself, but yeah, I don't mind somebody else wanting to upgrade me. But the thing is that I definitely want to be in the position to upgrade somebody else. I'm doing really well in my life, so I would definitely want to pass that on to the next person, pay it forward, as they say. So since I'm doing good and I'm finding, my place in the world, I want to pass it on to the next person, help them find their place in the world. And if their place in the world is being my wife, then that's their place in the world. That sounds like a really awesome place. Doesn't sound like a bad place, because you also have to understand that I'm also in a place too. I'm going to be the husband, right? So if I have a wife, right, that's her place, but my place is in the husband position, right? That's a place that I'm in. So if I'm okay with that place, that position of being the husband, it would be weird for my wife to have a problem being in the wife position. Like, there's benefits to both positions. Not only are there benefits, of course, there's work to be done in those positions. That's why they're called positions. And they're not equal. Definitely not. They're fair. I prefer that word. They're fair. There's benefits to being a husband and there's benefits to being a wife. There are some negatives. Like, there's pros and cons is what I'm saying. There's pros and cons to being a husband and being a wife. But, as long as the pros are more than the cons, then it's worth it. So, if I benefit more from being a husband than being a single man, then I want to be a husband because there's more benefits. There's more pros than cons, right? So, home skills is another thing you want to consider cooking, cleaning, stuff like that. Not necessarily cooking, cleaning for someone else, but just cooking, cleaning for yourself. Just having those skills in general, because one, you should have those skills anyway. Even though Uber Eats exists, even though Roombas exist, Roombas, or you pay somebody to come and clean your house, just because we have those types of services in this world doesn't mean you can't, or you don't have to learn how to do these yourself. You should know how to cook because it's a useful skill, period, as a human being, not just being a woman. Just as a human being, you should be able to cook because you should be able to rely on yourself, to be able to feed yourself, to be able to make sure that what you're eating is healthy. So, you want to make sure that what you're eating is healthy, and that's where it goes, back to the fit, because you need to take care of yourself, your health. Women talk about, their body, their choice, right? Their bodies are temples, and they self-love and body positivity, but I don't see it. I don't see the actual love for your body, actual positivity, body positivity. There's nothing positive about being overweight. There's a reason why it's called overweight. You're carrying more than your body is supposed to carry. Carrying more than is healthy, more than that the evolution dictated. We exist to eat, like evolution-wise, we're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables. We're not supposed to be eating donuts, cupcakes, McDonald's. That's not food. Those are products created by companies. We're supposed to be eating healthy, better. That's where it goes back to cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. Those basic skills, because those are self-care skills, right? Those are skills that you have to have for yourself, not for the world. And the world shouldn't be providing you that service, right? Cooking and cleaning. These are skills you should have yourself. It's just logical that way. You should know how to cook and clean. I know how to cook, I know how to clean, so that makes me beneficial in that way, because I don't have to worry about not being able to cook, not being able to clean. Plus, cooking and clean is important because of the fact that it's like, if you don't cook or don't know how to cook, there's a high possibility you don't know how to properly eat, as in you don't know what you should and shouldn't have in your body. That can translate negatively in many other ways. That's where the whole being fit and stuff like that comes into factor. And then cleaning, if you don't know how to clean, then that means you're not a clean person, or you're not proficient in cleaning. Therefore, there's certain aspects of your life that be very unorganized, very problematic. Nobody, if you wouldn't invite a homeless person into your house and have them, sit on your couches and stuff like that, right? Or would you want to be in a relationship with somebody who pretty much feels like inviting a homeless person into your house and have them, sit on your couch? So you definitely want to make sure that you're clean, those around you are clean, because one, there's health reasons for, because of germs and stuff like that, as well as, smell, right? Odor. You don't want to stink. You don't want your house to stink, right? So make sure your house smells feminine, smells like a house of a lady. Definitely don't want your house smelling like cat poop, so then you'll smell like a cat lady. Don't want your house smelling like dog shit. Because think about how unattractive, think about how unwomanly that is. Your house smelling like dog and cat poop and piss. Your couches with animal fur everywhere. Like, that's not feminine. That's not womanly. But this is kind of sad things we're seeing in the female gender is they need something organic, something alive around them so much that they'll tolerate the house smelling like dog shit. You wouldn't be okay having a grown-ass man smelling like dog shit in your house, right? You wouldn't want to be in a house where every time you wake up it smells like he took a shit You want the house to smell good, not smell like he took a shit, right? You wouldn't tolerate a grown-ass man, smelling like shit in your house. So why would you, you know, have animals in your house making the house smell like shit, right? That's very unsanitized, very unfeminine. And that's just for another conversation. But just wanted to point that out. That it's like, yeah, it's important to clean because you want to make sure that the house smells the way it should smell. It shouldn't smell like shit. It shouldn't smell like piss. It shouldn't smell like the subway. Cooking makes the house smell good, obviously. When you smell good cooking, when the food smells good, then there's a high possibility it tastes good too. And hopefully it's healthy, so that way it's worth eating because humans need to eat. Someday, maybe 100 years from now, we'll evolve to a point where we don't need food no more. So then, yeah, cooking will be a pointless skill. But for now, since we still need to eat, cooking is a must-have skill for any human being, man or woman. Cleaning, same thing. Germs, stinking like poop and stuff like that. Gotta clean yourself with it until we evolve to a point where our bodies are self-cleaning, so we don't ever have to take a shower and whatnot. We gotta cook. We gotta clean ourselves, clean our environment. And when it comes to viruses and like coronavirus, for example, and diseases, they travel. They go in and out of our houses whenever they want. You really think it's a good idea not to clean the house and make sure that the viruses don't survive? You don't want COVID in your house, so why would you not sanitize your house, clean the house to make sure COVID knows it's not welcome in your home? That kind of logic. Then we got work skills. I'm not against a woman making money because I'm not against a human being. I'm not against a man or a woman making money because it's a tool. We need the money to do things, right? To pay for stuff. So I'm not against it. Right? So I'm not against having the skills to work and stuff like that. Work ethics. But I expect to see those same ethics at home as well. If you're willing to, work hard at work, why don't you work hard at home? Just like why don't you work hard in a relationship? So that's why I do value work skills, because work skills require you to interact with other human beings. So if a woman got work experience, work skills, and she's able to be a team player, right? She's able to follow directions or vice versa, be in the leadership position and be able to, be able to give instructions properly. That makes it easy for people. aka great communication skills, is great. I'm all for it. Being good at typing, having good handwriting, all these types of skills are very helpful to have as a human being, very useful to have as a human being. And the fact that you can provide these skills to someone else, like if somebody else needs you to help them, sign a whole bunch of birthday cards, and you having good handwriting will come in handy when you're helping them sign all these birthday cards, right? All these Christmas cards, or if checks need to be signed, then sign some checks, right? Whatnot. You get the idea. It's like having these types of skills is important, being able to do stuff like balance checks, balance money, invest, and so forth and so forth. It's just very important to have, useful skills because they're useful. And not only they're useful to you as an individual, but they're useful to others. So it's good to have skills that are useful to others. Social skills, right? Like that goes back to the whole being friendly thing. It's back to being nice. Understanding that you need to present yourself off as a nice person at all times, even if everybody else is being shitty. If everybody else is being an asshole, doesn't give you the right to be an asshole too. Because it's wrong that they're being an asshole, so it don't make sense for you to do the same thing they're doing. Because then that makes you wrong too, right? Two wrongs don't make a right, as they say. Social skills, lady in the streets, freak in the sheets, right? That kind of concept. So it's like, know how to behave in certain situations. You gotta understand that you're representing yourself. You're representing others, especially people you're associated with. You're always representing your family, right? You're always representing, your man, or your significant other. You're always representing, your friends, the people you associate with, your race, in general, you're representing the human race. In general, you're representing being a human being. So being a decent human being, acting nice at all times, that sets an example for the rest of the planet, right? Everybody else, especially when you're in public. If you're a nice person in public, that will show people that, hey, I could be a nice person in public too. Because a lot of times I'll see men and women, mostly women I see the most, talking about, well, everybody else is doing this, blah, blah, blah. Why can't I? Blah, blah, blah. Always trying to use everybody else as excuse or as an example of what they can and can't do. Well, if everybody else is being an asshole, why can't I? Because you're supposed to be better, right? Why don't you do what everybody else is doing? Do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. If everybody else is jumping off a bridge, why don't you be the one who doesn't? Consider that. What benefits are you going to give? Are there benefits to not doing what everybody else is doing? Is there a benefit to being nice all the time while everybody else is being an asshole? Is there a benefit to that? I mean, there's a couple ones you can think of right off the bat. One that makes you stand out. One that proves you're not like everyone else. Proves that you are different. Proves that you're special. It proves that you think for yourself because you made the decision to be nice while everybody else is being an asshole. So now you're a leader, not a follower, right? You're not a sheep. You're not following the crowd. You're not doing things because other people are doing it. You have a mind of your own. You have your own intelligence. So you're able to make your own decisions. So you chose to be good while everybody else was being bad. See the difference? That's the thing. That's the benefit. You're doing the right thing because it is the right thing. And everybody else doing the wrong thing, eventually will realize they're doing the wrong thing, and then hopefully they correct themselves. Or somebody else corrects them, or, we're human, we have short lifespans, they might end up disappearing. Therefore, they're not there no more. And the more good people are around, or the more good people who choose to be good and rate and have children, for example, right, and raise the children to be good and so on, the more good people there are, the less bad people there'll be. And that'd be a good thing. If you want the world to be a better place, it got to start with you first. You got to make sure you're good. Then you inspire other people to also be good by setting an example, by not being a hypocrite and saying people should be good, but then you're an asshole, but then you're a bad person, right? So you need to be an example of how people should be, right? Because I see that a lot of women talking about, oh, men this, men that, and they try to talk negative about the world, but it's like, but what are you doing? What are you doing that is so much better than what everybody else is doing? What are you doing to prove that you're not as bad as everyone else? Because here's the thing, if you're not the solution, you're part of the problem. That's just a fact. If you're not the solution, if you're not trying to show people to behave better, then you're just like everyone else, aka you're part of the problem. If the problem everybody's being assholes and you're not trying to be not an asshole, then you're an asshole like everyone else. See, you're not helping. You know there's a problem. You know that there's a better way of doing things, but you choose not to do the better things. You rather have it where everybody else who's being an asshole stops being an asshole all of a sudden just because you pointed it out, but then you still be an asshole. But then you'll feel like you did something good, though. Let's say that did happen. Hypothetically, that did happen. You pointing out, oh, everybody's being assholes. Everybody needs to be nice to each other. Bang, suddenly the whole world is nice to each other. All right? But you're still an asshole. You're still disrespecting people left and right. Does that make sense? That sounds hypocritical. You told everybody that it's better to be nice, but look at you not, practicing what you preach, as they say. So it's important to make sure you practice what you preach. If you want a high value man, you better make sure you are worthy of high value. You got to make sure that you are high value, as in he highly values you over any other option. That you have, skills, personality, physical capabilities, or physical attributes that separates you from the rest, that stands you apart. Because this high value man, he's going to stand apart. He's going to be different. He's going to stand out in the crowd. People are going to notice that he's different than every other guy. Why can't you do the same? Why can't you stand out? Why can't you be not like every other woman and be better? There was a time where that was important, that every woman tried to be the best woman they can be. And the motivation was so they can get a man. Well, it definitely made women better. There was a lot of women who did great things, who were involved and part of history, right? Part of things that happened in the world that made the world a better place, because since she put effort to be chosen by a certain guy, right? A guy that she really wanted, and he chose her. She was able to be involved in whatever he was doing, and he more likely did something great because he was inspired and motivated by her. Her being there with him and stuff like that, being an awesome woman, allowed him to be an awesome man. So when he achieves something, she gets credit as well. Granted, he'll be mentioned first because he did something, but eventually somebody's gonna be like, wait, who's Albert Einstein's wife, right? Who's Steve Hawking's wife, right? Eventually, at some point, like, wait, did he have a wife? And then people are going to want to know. And once they find out about the wife, it's like, oh yeah, she's amazing. She's this, that, and the third, right? And you didn't even have to do anything but be with him, right? I mean, being an awesome woman, obviously is important, but you didn't have to achieve anything other than you were there, right? Because you earned it. You earned the position. You earned the spot of being there. Therefore, when whatever he does, you get mentioned at some point. At some point, it will lead back to you, just like it always leads back to the children. Bruce Lee has children, for example. If you know about Bruce Lee has children. And from right, Einstein has children. Yeah, he has children. I remember that from his documentaries. He has children, right? So, people will be like, "Oh, your dad was Albert Einstein. That's awesome." You know what I mean? And they benefit from that. So that's the thing. You want a high value man, you got to understand it. You're gonna be valuable, not only to him but also to the world, especially when he becomes very valuable to the world. The world is like, oh my God, he's such a great guy because he did something, and then it's like, bang, you're there. As long as the longer you stay there, the more recognition, more clout, more respect you'll earn because you were there. You were there, and if you were part of a lot of his inspiration, you get credit for that. People are going to respect that. Like, oh my God, you're so awesome. Because of you, he did this. Because of you, he did that. You kept him focused on what he's capable of doing, and he did great things. You helped him. And in return, you should benefit from that, obviously. But if you don't want that responsibility, that position, you want to be boss ass bitch and all that stuff and do you, then all right, you choose your destiny. Choose your route, your path. But you guys understand that, there's a lot that comes with that. And a lot of times it's not so good and it'll be difficult. It's going to be difficult for you to stand out when you're alone, right? When you're not doing things that work for thousands of years. If you want to try something different, you think you can, create a new path that other women want to follow that path, want to follow, then so yeah, I'm not against y'all trying something different. Just understand that, there's a high possibility it won't work, just because it hasn't many times before. But there is an exception. There's always an exception to the rule, right? There's always an exception. There's always a possibility that someday, that would be the case. For me personally, the main way I see men and women not, quote unquote, needing each other and stuff like that, is once we get to a point where we don't need to, we're immortal, right? We don't need to reproduce, so, reproduction is out of the question, so we don't need each other to reproduce, so we'll be like Barbie and Ken dolls, where we don't have reproductive systems anymore because, we reproduce. And then we don't have stomachs, and stomachs, because we don't need to eat no more, and then we don't need to sleep for some reason because we get powered by the sun or something. At some point we'll evolve to the point where eat, sleep, and reproduce is no longer important. It's no longer what makes us human, what we exist for. At some point we'll exist just to what exists. Okay, we exist to exist, and we'll exist for a long time because the whole immortality thing. So the long lifespan is like, okay, what we're supposed to do with 100,000 years of life. What are you supposed to do? What kind of life are you going to have if you live to be 100,000 years old? Are you going to have an awesome life? Are you going to have a fun life? Or, like, what kind of life are you really going to have? Because at some point you're going to be bored. At some point it's like, life sucks. Like, there's nothing to do. Because a lot of things people forget is that what makes life, awesome, what makes things worth anything, is the fact that there's an end to something. And once you get to the end, well, once you get to the end, it sucks. So then you want a new beginning. You always want the ability to start something new. So I understand, a woman wanting to do more than being a wife. I get it. So I'm the same way. I want to do more than be a husband. But I still want to be a husband because that's one of the many different things I can do in life. Being a husband, being a father. I've been a son. I'm somebody's child. I've been a son. I've been a baby. I've been a teenager. I'm a grown-ass man now, right? I've been poor. I'm financially, stable now, right? So I've done a lot, and there's a lot I haven't done. So I would like to do more with the time I have on this planet. So all I'm saying is, ladies, do the same. You need to. If you don't want a high-value man, that's fine. If you don't want a man or don't need a man, right? Teach them. You choose your path. Just understand that if you want something, you got to earn it. It's just common sense. If you think, if you're okay with earning a PhD, right, a degree, and then go get a career, right, get a job and get paid and work and get a paycheck, why do you think you don't have to earn, right, a high value man? What makes you think you don't have to put in work? You don't have to have a wife resume. Obviously, you gotta have a wife resume. Just like you need a resume for anything else. You need to qualify for college, right? You need to qualify for a PhD, right? By passing all your classes and scoring high enough to get a PhD, right? You got to qualify for a job, right? Can't be an idiot, right? So why do you think you don't have to qualify for a high value man? Like you could just ask for a high value man and you're supposed to get it. It doesn't work that way. You have to earn stuff. Not everything in life is free. But the stuff that is, well, some stuff is free. But even some people want to put a price on it, but that's for a different conversation. Point is that not everything in life is free. So if you want a high value man, you gotta earn it. You gotta be worthy of it. You gotta put in the work to get it. Because I know I put in a lot of time and effort to better myself, and it's not just for me. I better myself. Obviously it benefits me to better myself, but I'm bettering myself for her, the wife. I'm bettering myself for her. Because if I want her to be awesome, then I need to be awesome, right? I need to be my best if I want the best, right? So if I'm working hard to earn the best life, then I deserve the best wife. It's just logical. It makes no sense for me to settle for less, for mediocre, or for average at best, when I worked hard to earn the best. Why should I not get the best? Right? So if I have an awesome life, I should also have an awesome wife.